Hi, I'm Brady. I play guitar and shout in Conjurer. We are a heavy rock band from the UK, and we are coming on tour in Australia, which sounds insane to say out loud. In May, we're playing three headline shows and a couple of shows supporting Botch, and all the dates are online if you want to go search it out because I can't remember them off the top of my head. And I'm here chatting with the lovely Chris.
Beautiful, Brady. Thanks for your time today, mate. Nice to speak with you.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So I have got some dates for you, actually, bro. Like Conjurer, make your way to Australia next month for a run of 5 shows, starting in Brisbane on May the 15th, then hitting Newcastle, Sydney, and Melbourne, and finishing in Adelaide on May the 19th, mate. So it's still about 4 weeks away, but are you packed and ready to go yet?
I moved house 3 days ago, so I'm not even unpacked at this point. But yeah, man, like I last time we were in Australia, we were down for Dark Mofo in Tasmania, and I spent 4 out of the 5 days sick as a dog in bed. So I'm like ready to get back out and actually experience some of the country. And yeah, man, it's one of those kind of like bucket list tours. Like you see bands going to Australia and never feels like it's going to be you. But yeah, we're just so thankful to have the opportunity and to be getting back out there, you know?
And it's a brutal run of 5 shows in 5 days, mate. Like, do you ever get the feeling someone in your booking team doesn't like you?
Yeah, it's all of them for sure. It's even more fucked because we're playing 10 show 9 shows in 10 days and then flying directly to Australia off the back of that. So we're like, it's gonna be really. I was saying to the guys, I was like, I'm obviously really excited about this. It's gonna be the most brutal month of touring we've ever done, just in terms of logistics. So we'll see. Like, we're gonna be absolutely shagged by the time we get there. So
Have-
I'm hoping it's I- but it's one of those like you we're so lucky to be able to do this. Like you get up, you drink a couple of Red Bulls and you make it happen. Like the shows are going to be amazing. I just don't know if we're going to have any time to do what I really want to do, which is go and hold a koala. So, well, that's my only real goal of this entire tour is to get out there and hold a koala. So I'll keep you posted on whether that happens or not.
Too easy, bro. But so how do you mentally and physically prepare for running shows like that? Like it's got to be you've got to prepare yourself before you leave, obviously, wouldn't you?
I've got to start going to the gym again because I'm so out of shape and like the physical toll of touring is really underrated, I think. Realistically though, like we've all been doing this for so long. I think anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. Any kind of extended period, we did like the first US tour was 36 shows in 34 days, and one of the days off was like a 14-hour drive. So like in terms of like the mental ability to like get through a run of shows, like we can do it. We've done the phrase I always use is I've driven further to play to less people. Like we turn up at any show, guarantee I've driven further to play to less people. So um yeah, we get to the point where we've all been doing this for so long that we kind of just fall into a rhythm and just make it happen. And I think a big part of that is having some time and some grace and some respect for the people that you're with and realizing we are all different and we are all human and we all have strengths and weaknesses. And I think giving each other the benefit of the doubt as well. And if someone is having an absolute mare, if someone says, hey, I can't help load in right now, taking that at face value and going, okay, I trust that you're not taking the piss here, you know, and if I'm ever in that situation, that you'll carry the slack for me. So it's a dynamic that we've really had to like actively work on, but are now in that position where we can, I think we can make it happen regardless of where we're at, you know?
Yeah, good. Good attitude, man. And well, like this said before, this is going to be your first tour of mainland Australia after an exclusive one-off show in Tasmania for Dark Mofo in 2022. So when you play something like this for the first time, do you research and talk to people who've been here before to find out what to expect, or do you just come in cold and treat it as an experience?
I guess coming cold because I've not spoken to anyone yet as for some advice. Like I I think that of all of the like different places we've been, while there are these like different cultural norms and stuff, for the most part, like a room full of people that like music with distorted guitars and shouting is a room full of people who like music with distorted guitars and shouting. The the kind of commonalities between bands from different cultures and metal fans is like it's really comforting knowing that we can travel halfway around the world and see a bunch of bold sweaty white guys in Converge shirts like just the same as it is at home. Like there's that kind of familiarity in the metal scene is something that is really comforting, but like I think all of us do this to kind of push those norms and to go out there and experience different cultures and meet new people. And like I think it has, this is not directly related, but like the diversity in people that I know through music compared to if I'd stayed in my hometown of like tiny little town of like 20,000 people in white Christian middle England is
Astronomical.
yeah, right, like it's I think the accessibility of metal and the breadth of experience and that kind of like shared thing that people have is really fucking powerful and something that I think does translate across all these new places. So I'm quite excited to see what the Australian scene has to offer and kind of get out there and meet people and learn something more than what TV has taught me about Australia.
You're in for a shock then, brother. If all the TV's taught you is what you know, you're in for a big shock.
Oh yeah, I'm here for it.
So on the flip side of that, mate, like Australian fans won't know what to expect from you either. So run us through a typical Conjurer live show if there is such thing.
I think for us, it's all about kind of it's the I've never really I've no one's ever asked me that question. Like, I don't know, man. Like I think we're pretty old school in our approach in that there's not really any gimmicks to it. Like we turn up real loud and use that like 30 to 90 minutes depending on the night as an excuse to kind of get all of the negativity out and um I think we're all quite mild-mannered people. Boring nerds is the phrase that I normally use to describe everyone in the band, myself included. Um, but I think that time on stage allows us to spend the rest of our time being boring nerds. I think it's high energy. It is cathartic, certainly for me. Um, and like just like the most fun thing I do, all kind of like wrapped up in one. We're making music because we enjoy doing it, and I hope that if people come on to the show, they can share in that experience and we can have a nice time.
Sounds good to me, mate. And speaking of music, like your music draws influence from a wide variety of genres, including sludge, death, gloom, with black metal, hardcore in there. Like it's a brutal fucking mixture. But when you first started, how difficult was it bringing them all together to create a sound of your own?
I think it's funny because it's not something that we actively tried to do. We were never like, oh, we're gonna go out and take take a bunch of genres and mash them together. Dan and I were both playing in metalcore bands for a number of years and kind of just got sick of that scene more than the music. And the kind of lack of creativity, the egos, the all the bullshit that came along with that like new mid 2000s wave of metalcore, which is kind of when I was getting into to metal. And started like me and Dan found each other and really wanted to start making music that was exciting to us and um was also the same time that we were discovering a lot of doom, sludge, stoner. Um, yeah, I'd gone from listening to these metalcore bands to getting into Gojira and the Black Dahlia Murder and Yob and Pallbearer and Arm for Apocalypse and Converge and like so many bands that are a huge influence on us. It just seemed really natural to all these new ideas that were coming at us at the same time to like take influence from that. And it wasn't really until many years later that I realized that that's not what every band does. Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, there's all this music out there, everyone's just trying to take in as much as they can. And I think I was just really lucky to find someone like Dan to make music with who is so broad in their tastes and really influenced me to kind of widen my listening. And yeah, there was never any intent to do what we were doing. It was just to keep making music that was exciting to us. And that's not changed at all. I think for us, it's still not to repeat ourselves, to keep challenging and pushing ourselves and to make something that we aren't going to be bored of in 10 years if we continue being a band and have to keep playing those songs, like something that is truly the best version of whatever it can be. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Interesting. I actually read a funny but awesome quote about Conjurer the other day where they described you as non-specific in terms of music subgenre, which I think is perfect. It's every band should be like that.
Yeah, that was something we kept because we were getting asked about what genre we were, and we went with for quite a while UK riff music, which is our legal company name.
Okay.
But it kind of like felt a little bit reductive. So non-specific metal was I still feel like it's accurate because like I don't know that I think it speaks to like my favorite bands from every genre are the bands that are like kind of on the fringes. Like my favorite death metal band is probably Gojira, and they're like kind of a death metal band throughout their career. And my favorite black metal band will be someone like If They're Gonna Fry High or like one of these like more modern bands or even Death Heaven that are like on the edges of being a black metal band, you know,
Yeah.
like I think that really speaks to the influence that we take. Like, I'm not the biggest black metal fan, but I like black metal. I'm not the biggest death metal fan, but I like death metal. I'm not the biggest heavy metal fan, but I like certain songs. You know, it's for us, it's all about really picking and choosing your artists from each genre and really finding those records that speak to you and trying to fuse all that together as opposed to we are four people wearing Metallica shirts that love Metallica and guess who we fucking sound like, you know?
Yeah. And your most recent album, Pathos, came out in 2022, mate. So will this tour bring to a close that album cycle and see you start work on the next one?
Yeah, so we've been this year is really when we've knuckled down to focus on the record. And yeah, I it's funny because Maya felt like it went on forever, that touring cycle. You know, we did so much on it, and it feels like the Pathos cycle has come to a close before it's even started. But we've done so much off the back of this record that is, I think, less commercially viable and a harder listen and you know less immediate and all of the things that labels don't want to hear. This record, and I think we've been really lucky to continue to grow the band and to travel all around the world. And yeah, like you say, wrapping down the cycle with a bunch of UK and European festivals and some European tours and the chance to come to Australia and play with Botch is pretty fucking insane as far as I'm concerned.
That's awesome, bro. Well, thanks for your time, Brady. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, mate. The tour does kick off in Brisbane on May the 15th, mate. So look forward to seeing you there.